What's going on? It's my favorite time of the year, the time when my RWBY Blu-ray shows up. And now I'm going to make a video so that nobody can watch that one either. Season 5 tells a 4-hour story of how our heroines finally reunite in the town of Mistral, aka Ba Sing Se. So first and foremost, I was very confused by my Blu-ray because for the first time ever, pressing play all plays them in episodic format with theme songs and end credits of every episode. So I'm pretty sure that added about 20 minutes onto the actual Blu-ray's runtime. So it didn't end up being as long as I thought it was, but it was still way longer than it was needed to be. So like the first episode did like how a lot of animes do, where it saves the theme song till the end of it, and then it did the end credits immediately afterwards, and then it picked up with the theme song for the next episode right after that. So it was really confusing. And I mean, if you put that on with the fact that I have 2 Blu-ray discs here instead of a DVD copy, and how last season of Red vs. Blue didn't have any special features, they're starting to slip on their Blu-rays, and it makes me wonder if they're just trying not to push the physical medium. I know a lot of people don't like physical medium as much as I do, but I would like to get stuff out of it. They are cheaper though, I'll put it to them that. So where we last left off, RWBY and Team Juniper, well, what's left of it, were in Mistral, where they eventually met up with the reincarnation of Ozpin, which, in my rewatch of Season 4 this week, Ozpin was like the most exciting part of it. Like every time he popped up, I was like, oh, good, we're back to Ozpin. But then they got a little weird with him. Like, for starters, his power comes from the gods. Like, I know they got these 4 goddesses, but he apparently created those, so there's an even more powerful set of gods above him. I mean, they couldn't even call it a semblance, and, like, they have gods now. Their world is very inconsistent, because they very clearly have magic, but they insist that they don't, and that there's somehow a reasoning behind it. And if you tell me that there's reason behind it, then I have to look for what that reason is. And that's a lot of extra stress on me that I don't want. And then he even says that who would ask for this? Like, who would ask for 1,000 generations of like-minded people's experiences inside your head? I would. That would be awesome. And then later on, Ozpin ended up being, like, the cause of the death of one person, and, like, that caused the dude to just go absolutely apeshit for probably 20 minutes. So my interest in Ozpin was supplanted by my interest in Yang's character this season, because, well, for one, when I was rewatching Season 4 with Yang dealing with her missing arm, it primed me for watching Luke Cage this weekend, because Misty Knight lost her arm in a very similar spot that Yang did. But I like watching Yang overcoming all this extra shit that she's going through. And then when she seemed like she was over it all, there's still issues with Blake that she needed to work out. And then at the end, that paid off well. Now, I think I'm liking these seasons a lot more as time goes on, because for one, the animation's getting spectacular. But on the downside, they're also getting longer, and the pacing is getting worse. They need to start cutting back and forth a little bit more, because I know it seems like it's not that long on a 4-hour scale, but for people watching this week to week, it's got to be agony for them. You know, you don't see a character for 6 weeks, and in reality it's only like 45 minutes worth of time. But they should really go back to the quicker pacing of early Red vs. Blue. They're getting just way too long-winded. I mean, while RWBY and Weiss and Yang's storylines eventually intersected, Blake was gone for a long time and doing just her entire other thing. And like now, Lai Ren talks way too much, and it's just wasting more time that you just don't need. I mean, Ren and Nora had their big moments last season. Give them a year off. Jean didn't say 2 words for 3 hours of the movie, and then suddenly, like, he matters and his semblance comes out, and it's like, how is this earned? You know, save that shit for when you need it. And while a lot of the plot points were really predictable, like, I knew Weiss wasn't gonna die. Her name is in the fucking title of the movie. She's the titular W in RWBY. But what did throw me was Vernal being the Spring Maiden. I thought that would seem like something that people would do, is just name a character Vernal and then expect me to be surprised when she's the Spring Maiden. But then I was surprised when she turned out not to be, so that was good. So not everything was the most predictable thing in the world. I also thought Ilya was going to die up until about 2 minutes before she didn't die, because I suddenly realized how important it was that she got forgiven. Which makes me wonder if that symbolic forgiveness is actually poor writing. Like, should I be able to predict that? I mean, it wasn't like forever in advance. Anyway, overall, I think it's got some major length and pacing issues. It's too short to be a TV show. It's way too long to be a movie. It's at 4 hours. That's about both seasons of Frisky Dingo. So they really need to tighten that up. I am left with a lot of questions afterwards, like, are they going to have to spend the next half a decade going after the winter and summer maidens? Or do they have some kind of other idea for where this is going? I do like how they managed to kill Cinder off. They cycle the villains. You get sick of a villain after a couple years, they kill him off, like they did with Torchwood a couple years ago. So, I'm sticking with this show. It gets harder though when they really fuck me over on these Blu-rays like this. It's hard for me to get immersed in a show when I have to get up to skip to the next episode and fast forward through the opening credits because they don't even have like an extra skip mark on it. So whatever. I hope no one watches this video because I didn't do a good job, but no one's gonna do it anyway. All right, later.